Hello everyone, welcome back to the Digital Eccentric channel. I'm your host Joe Robinson, and today I'm going to be playing a bit of Europa Universalis IV, which is a grand strategy game from Paradox Interactive, and I'm going to be playing it using the Conquest of Paradise DLC that they released a couple of weeks ago now, back in January, about January the 14th I think it was. And I'm playing as Portugal. Now, I've already done a kind of video stream, well, not a stream, but I've done a video on this which is available on my YouTube channel, Digital Eccentric, and it kind of covers my early game playing as Portugal. But now, as you can see in the corner here, the year is 1713, so I've got just over 100 years left on the clock before the game officially ends. And this is kind of like a late game view on Conquest of Paradise and its mechanics. So I'll zoom out here. I'm at peace at the moment, although I've had my fair share of wars. And so as you can see, the first thing you'll notice off to the left here is my new world. Now, one of the main features of Conquest of Paradise was to give you the option to have a randomized new world. This only applies to the North and South American continent. And what it does is it basically reorders all of the individual provinces into, well, just a random pattern essentially. You can have, I don't know if you can have more provinces, but you can certainly have less provinces than what the usual American setup looks like. But it's essentially an attempt to try and give some of the mystery back to finding the new world, because obviously this is all shrouded by a terra incognita to begin with. You don't know where anything is, you don't know where the placement of anything is. It was very easily to min-max the kind of vanilla game, because obviously you know where Brazil is. Brazil is somewhere around here, and you know that you should probably colonise these islands to make getting over to Brazil quite easy, etc, etc. It was very easy to game, there were no surprises. So yeah, this is the kind of shape of my new world. As you can see, it's a very odd shape. It's a connected continent with more or less with some land masses dotted here or there. The new world is essentially divided into colonial regions, which I'll just show now using this map mode. So these are all the different colonial regions, and they more or less appear where they're supposed to. Like Alaska's kind of skewed, but Mexico is down here, and then you have Peru, Rio de Plata, that isn't actually an official Brazil as far as I can tell, but I'm not sure whether that's Rio de Plata or not. So yeah, and colonial regions, what this follows on to is another new feature called colonial nations. Now you'll know you got Florida here, you got Newfoundland, you got Castilian Canada, and you got Carabias and Rio de Plata, sorry, which are my colonial nations. In the vanilla EU4 game, essentially what you do is you just colonise a new world. Those territories would remain a part of your official domain, and you just reap the money and benefits. And you could say it was overpowered, but what Paradox wanted to do was give a more, not necessarily accuracy, but more historical flavour to the new world system. So from their research, they basically determined that the colonies in America were pretty much left to govern themselves. Obviously, kind of large-scale military and diplomatic matters were handled by the home nation, but they were allowed to like kind of settle and expand, to trade and develop on their own. And you know, that's what kind of led to their sense of identity and nationalism, which I suppose led to the American War of Independence, especially because, you know, we taxed the hell out of them. In hindsight, wasn't it a good idea? So in any colonial region, when as a colonising nation you basically take over 3 territories within a region, and it can be any 3, they will, or no, so 4, they will band together to become a colonial nation. So this was my first one, Carabias, I'm not actually sure how to pronounce this one. Portuguese, I think it might be an historical Portuguese kind of colony. And once that happens, any additional territories you colonise within that colonial region will automatically flip over to the colonial nation. So it's important you don't get caught out by these mechanics, because I did essentially. I thought it was only had to be 3 or 4 consecutive regions like close together, but no, it could be any 4. And you have to make sure you know where the boundaries are so that you don't get caught out. Like the Carabias boundary ends here, for example. which I didn't know, so I've lost a couple of territories to Krabias. Rio de Plata is in its own region, and then of course you got Florida and Newfoundland and British Columbia as well. It's interesting because in the vanilla EU4 game, I never really bothered much with the rest of the world. I never bothered with Africa or the East Indies, which I'll come to in a minute. I only really colonised America and kind of reaped the rewards having American colonies gained you. Now that colonial nations form, it's made me look at other areas of the map, because obviously being controlled by a technically separate entity, you don't get all of the money and the goods produced in this area. You only tax them through tariffs, and you can tax them more if you want more money, but that will increase their liberty desire, which it will eventually lead to them trying to revolt against you. So if you want to keep them on side, you have to basically keep the taxes low and do whatever they say, which is an odd way to play the game, but I can't be bothered to deal with a revolution right now. But as an offshoot of that, it made me focus on the African continent more. So I've got some colonies here in Africa, which I traditionally never used to bother with, and I also focused on getting some territories in India and the East Indies as well, which overall has proved very profitable. So if you look up here, I'm bringing in 53 gold per turn, which is close to raking it in, to be honest. It's the most I think I've had in any single game. But sorry, yeah, this is just a kind of overview of my world. Obviously Castile is colonising left, right and centre as they did. You've got England holding its own, and of course Europe. See, the Ottomans are going a bit out of control. So I'll start the game, I'll get things rolling. I just wanted to give you an overall overview of my world and talk through some of the features, the headline features of Conquest of Paradise. So yeah, not a lot is happening at the moment. I've sort of come to the end of my colonisation game. I think there's not a lot of territories left that are interesting. I mean, you've got all these ones here, but they're all really low tax, so I suppose I could try colonise them anyway for the trade goods. The trade goods can be important, but I think I might look more towards actually conquering territory or having vassals, so I can get the goods I need as opposed to colonising it. And Spain has gotten into a habit of cock blocking me a lot as well for some reason. Kind of a dick move, but whatever. Playing as Portugal is interesting because you have to keep your European neighbours happy, like especially Castile. Like, they spent the majority of the game kind of being owned by Aragon, but as you can see, the tables have turned in that, and so I have to keep Castile happy, because even though I've kind of got a respectable army now, I think I've got a decent enough navy, I'm still only a small country on the mainland, and my forces are spread out to manage my vast colonial empire. So fortunately I don't really have many friends at the moment. England, they hate me. France, they hate me. Castile, they like me at the moment. Aragon used to love me a lot, which was important because I wanted to keep them on side when they were strong, but now that they're weak I don't really care anymore, so yeah, whatever. Vast English armies massing there. The Ottomans are definitely going to become a concern. I found this in a lot of games actually, that the Ottomans just kind of balloon out of control and no one really kind of manages to stand up to them. Like Austria routinely folds, especially when the Ottomans build a land bridge to Central Europe. You know, Hungary's been swallowed up. These guys are probably going to get swallowed up if they're not careful. It's hard to get some collective action going to kind of, you know, stop them. Like, my navy's alright right now. I think I can go toe to toe with them on the seas and perhaps even stop them from landing. But it's hard. As you can see, they're kicking the crap out of Aragon. Got footholds on the Italian peninsula. Got all the way over here. Like, the only reason they haven't swallowed up Algeria is because, you know, Oh, they were allies, but they're not anymore. At the moment, I'm just investing a lot of my money into infrastructure. Being able to bring in the money to maintain large fleets and navies. Kind of just colonising where I can, really. These guys, the Mesha Pahit's been kind of owning them for a long while. A little bit bad about, I suppose, but you know. Needs must and all that. How the Ottomans got here, but there you go. See, crazy the Ottomans. Steamroll over pretty much anyone. Doesn't help that they're friendly with the Mughals as well. Basically, there's a massive powerhouse here, just in the centre of the world. Russia could probably take them on, but the two haven't come to blows yet for whatever reason. I don't know why I'm fighting so hard for the paper influence. Like, yeah, I suppose it gets you, just say stability cost modifiers reduce, you get extra diplomats, you get more prestige, get an extra leader without upkeep, which is very useful, but you know, the Crusades are over. Like, I got the on the paper controller now, and when I got this about, must have been about 30 years ago in game time, so about 1660, 1670, I thought about calling a crusade on someone or excommunicating someone, and I was informed by the game that the Crusades had entered in 1650, apparently. So, thanks for nothing. So at the moment I'm focusing my colonisation efforts on beefing up my colonial nations. So especially Caribas, which is on the mainland, with Florida and Castilian Canada, which are two very big colonies. And I've just kind of let these guys languish. Like, they kind of colonised a couple of territories on their own. Like, I believe these two was stuff they did off their own initiative, but I've basically had to help them out and do the rest of the work for them, which is kind of rubbish. I think the AI could definitely use some shoring up there. But hey ho. Having experienced this new world once, I don't think I'd do it again. Things are too random. Well, I'd definitely, I think, try a playthrough with the traditional North-South American setup before I go back to a randomised new world, just for some comparison. The Ming Dynasty attacked by Japan. Oh, seems like a really good opportunity to pounce on the Ottomans. Again, collective action. difficult. Lots of wars going on at the moment. Me and France have fought quite a few times. Back when I was good friends with Aragon, I used to get dragged into wars against France quite a lot. I kind of lost most of them. Like, personally, I used to hold my own, but my team in general just kept losing them, no matter how much I fought. So that was annoying. Bloody smugglers. I'll take the hit for 10 years. No big deal. I'm trying to balance because this is just in case you don't know much about the base game. Progression in this game, in terms of you know, advancing your nation, is handled by basic technology levels, which you need kind of power to level up, and you accumulate this power through a base rate and then various modifiers like your leader, advisors, that kind of thing, and you kind of level up in these kind of basic tech trees, and that handles most of your progression. But you can also tailor your nation to along certain lines by choosing ideas. So my ideas dealt with exploration and colonization to begin with, just so you know I could explore the new world before anyone else. Then defensive, so I could hold on to you know, what I took. Trade ideas, so I could expand my pool of merchants, which is good for steering income towards my capital and collecting as much money there. Then offensive ideas, which is something I picked quite late on, so I could, you know, go on the attack more. And then I've also got economic and expansion ideas just to help out with things there. So you kind of have to be careful though, because you spend the same power pool in buying these sub ideas as you do the main tech tree. So if you spend too much power going down, say, this military sub idea, you won't be going up as much in the main tech tree, and this is where you get all of the new advanced units and sort of the main combat modifiers. Like, say that their combat width is +2, get a new cavalry unit if I do the next one. So I've been trying to keep up with my my contemporaries. So I'm on level 23 right now. France is on 24. Great Britain's on 24, Castile's on 24, so I think I'll take a risk and just do a sub idea. Especially that one, land force modifiers, limit +25%, means I can recruit more regiments, so I can garrison more areas. Can't underestimate that. Military access for the Ottomans? I do not think so. No way I'm helping you guys get what you want. It's weird that this war hasn't ended yet. I'm wondering what the hold up is. Sometimes the system for fighting can get a bit bugged, especially if the wrong thing happens at the wrong time, and the AI works to a certain set of rules which can be quite rigid, so it can break things sometimes, and I think something is slightly broken here. trying to figure out where I've got most of my armies. Might be time to wage another war. The war is over. Wonder what the terms were. So much money, I'm not entirely sure what to do with it. Any excuse to increase my land force limits is useful. Lost one of my advisors. Which one was that? Administrative guy. At base 7 as it is already. Take the tax modifier. It's always useful. Mo money, mo power, as they say. A little bit ashamed to admit it, but I rarely get to super late games in Paradox titles. Like, I love playing them, I love them to bits, but something usually kind of breaks and I decide to start again, or you know, I don't play it for a while and then an expansion will come out, and so I'll start again anyway because, you know, new expansion, new mechanics, it's always best to play it safe and start a new game. So we've rarely, I don't think I've ever gone to 1715 in EU4 since it came out, at least. So this is new territory, and not really sure what to do with myself at the moment. Obviously you can see at the top right, as far as the internal scoring system goes, I'm third. Quite good. Like, I started off at 5th about 100 years ago. I started off, I was 5th 100 years ago, and I've kind of slowly clawed my way up. Damn. It's down one. Cardinal. Always doing that. If you don't pay attention to the College of Cardinals, you can really get caught out. If I wanted to, I could release Caribas from my care and then play as them, which is a good mechanic. You can found a new world colony and then continue playing as that new world colony. So 1715. No, it's at the end of the century that the American War of Independence happens. Kidding. Game can get a bit sluggish in this later years, especially when it comes to the revelation of discoveries. For some reason, it always kind of makes the games pause and think as more of the map is revealed to me. The thing I'm struggling with the most is logistics. You know, just getting my troops around. Probably due for an update in some areas. Pirates can be of trouble if you don't keep an eye on things. They really just kind of randomly spawn as and like if you don't patrol sea areas enough, then pirates just randomly spawn. Like if you've got a like trade patrol going on, then that's the patrol mechanic sorted already. But in areas that maybe you don't care so much about as far as trade goes, it can be hard to keep things under wraps sometimes. Oh, when I lost. Of course I did. Just get rid of those. That's what I really wanted, the additional merchant. Navies are a tricky thing, because it seems anywhere outside of Europe, essentially, all the build times are depressingly slow, so really it's only worth building troops and ships, well, ships mainly, in the home territories. Free Conquistador. They're not that useful at the moment. Well, especially now that my colonial game I don't really care about. But they do count as military leaders for land forces. Pips seem respectable enough. And worst comes to worst, I can always fire him and just spend points on getting someone decent. Not a big demand for cotton right now, so I don't really need to worry about conquering them. The part of me just wonders why leave them alive. We have an extra merchant now, so I need to decide what I'm going to do with him. As everyone around me is kind of working towards the same goal. Don't necessarily. Extra trade fleet here to deal with that. Vassalising that, annex them, that would be useful. Hello new followers, if you're just joining, my name is Joe Robinson, aka Digital Eccentric, and you're watching me play a Portugal / Ironman game on Europa Universalis IV using the Conquest of Paradise DLC. It's a late game. As you can see, 17-16 now. And I'm just basically, well, I'm just playing through it so I can show off a little bit what the late game is like using this DLC. Again, this is my new world setup using the randomized new world. A bit of a weird shape, as you can see, but you can clearly see how the colonial nations mechanics and everything kind of ties into that. I wish the AI for colonial nations was a bit better. I suppose on a technical point, it's been said that they kind of follow the vassal AI, so they don't really do much on their own. Like, these guys haven't colonised much on their own, which is a bit of a ball ache because it means I have to waste colonists colonising for them just to keep them strong, especially fighting wars. And I have fought a war against Castile, so the combined might of these two colonies just kind of weighing down. It's well, I ended up winning, but it's not the easiest thing to deal with. So, but now that my own colonial game is sort of winding down now, I'm sort of using what colonists I have to help them out a bit, expand their borders. Hopefully they don't get too big for their boots, but you never know. Just currently in the process of updating my various fleets because I've jumped up a few technology points in the past 100 years or so. Excellent. The work here is done. Somewhere else to colonise now. Two. All the good spots are basically gone. Kind of colonising for the sake of it, but can't hurt. I have 6 more units to my land forces. The question is where to assign them. Probably going to need them on mainland Europe, judging by how things have been going. Very outdated. Time's gone by. I used to have forces stationed on the Cape, so it stands to reason I should do so again. So this is one of the decisions that the new kind of decision change that come up in Conquest of Paradise. So essentially, whilst they're under your thumb, the colonial nations are ruled by viceroys, and they kind of act like leaders, so they have their own kind of admin, diplomatic, and military skills. And they will periodically tell you that a viceroy's term is up, and a colony will either ask you to keep the existing viceroy or to send a new one, and you can either do what they say or send a new one. If you do what they say, in this case they want us to send a replacement. Yes, the viceroy gets more power, but the colony itself also gains liberty desire, which you can see here. So they're on 19% liberty desire. As you can see there, a nation may declare independence after 50%, and it will automatically declare independence at 100%. So you can see I'm not really anywhere near that right now, but I've been refraining from putting it up too high because, well, I just don't want to tempt fate, to be honest. Like I said, I don't really want to deal with a revolution. I'm quite happy to do what they say and keep the tariffs low, just for peace of mind. But this guy's pretty powerful, but if I don't send a replacement like they want, they gain 5% liberty desire. So I'm just going to send them a military candidate, keep them happy, and hopefully there'll be no war. Died tragically. That was my heir. He's not that great. Yeah, so whilst this EU4 retains some of the CK2-like elements in terms that you have a leader and a character that kind of personifies your own leadership of your nation, there's no like kind of family dynamic here. There's no backstabbing or political machinations. But you know, you do have a leader. You can see here, you do need heirs in order to kind of keep things running smoothly, and they have to have strong claims, otherwise it can prove difficult. I've had some games where my heirs just keep dying in tragic circumstances, and then I get regency councils and, you know, claims on my throne. It's just a bit of a ball ache really, but there you go. Excellent. So I'm quite literally swimming in the money right now. Wunderbar. Now Rio de Prata want me to keep the current viceroy. Yeah, that's fine. You take it, they try and make it a kind of a tougher decision because you take prestige hits. See, having low prestige is not the end of the world, although it makes it easier if you do have high prestige. But whereas I can always just go declare war on someone and then wail on them for a bit to get my prestige back up. So again, no real biggie. So much friggin' money. So many qualities sometimes, it's hard to keep track of everything. Forget who's doing what and why and where. I landed on the wrong colony there. That would have been awkward. Three, four, five, six. Definitely update those guys. I really want to try and get Russia on side. Or if, about relation with them anyway, couldn't hurt. See, another tariff here, so because one of my colonies produces coffee I can tax it. But Rio de Prato will get plus 5% liberty, and all I get is plus 1% on tariff, which is, you know, quite a lot when you look at the numbers, especially if it's a large colony, but can't really be bothered, so I'd rather take the random power boost. Ah. Dispatch these guys to the East Indies to replace some of the aging ships that I have out there. What have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, another 4 frigates, I think, and I'll send them out 2 updated heavy ships as well. you know, nice like that. Right, stream's just hit 51 minutes. It's unlikely anything's going to happen in the next few minutes unless someone randomly starts a war, which could happen. You know, it's happened loads of times, but apart from Great Britain, which is what Russia, none of the usual suspects seem to be attacking or being attacked. So I won't bore you anymore. I shall leave it here. I hope you enjoyed this look at a late game EU4 using the Conquest of Paradise DLC. It's definitely improved in many ways. Like I have issues with a lot of the colonial mechanics that they've added in, but I kind of appreciate them because they make me look at the rest of the world a lot more, which I think is important. It's important to pay attention to Africa and India and the East Indies, and not just focused on America, and not to have things too easy as well, because it's quite easy just to colonize America and just roll in the money in the vanilla game. So adding this is a lot good. I think this will go very well with the upcoming DLC, Wealth of Nations, which adds a lot of new trade mechanics, including new ways to have conflict over trade, and especially with this new trade zone in Western Europe, which has no land mass at all to control. You literally just have to chuck ships at it until you do well in it. And I think combined should make the game very interesting, especially for trade-based nations. So thanks for watching. Again, you can see all my past broadcasts on my Twitch profile, and I upload them to my YouTube channel along with any offline videos I sometimes do. You can see the first EU4 play video on my YouTube channel. Again, I'm going to try and keep this stream more regular and play some a wide variety of games. If you have any requests, let me know. But other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.